Hey, this is Pat, and today we're taking a look at the Shoei RF-SR2 helmet. Now, the RF-SR was one of the most popular options within Shoei's line, and the 2 is going to be the next iteration of that. And first and foremost, what I want to say right out of the gate is they didn't change all that much, and I think that's a good thing because they also didn't change the price from the older version. Now, the older version came out in 2017, and when it did launch, it was $400. By the time of the end of its lifespan, around 9 years later, it was $499, but so is the RF-SR2 is coming in at that $499 price range, and the features that you are getting upgrades on are going to be aerodynamics, ventilation, and to me, the biggest one is going to be the styling at the front. You can see I have the old version on my left and the new version on my right. The old version I always called, the joke around the office was that it was the V for Vendetta. You get this giant V shape of the ventilation in the front, which they have done away with, which I think just makes it all that better looking. But more importantly, this is going to be the most budget entry-level price point to get into the Shoei brand for a full face helmet. Now, when I say $500 and budget oriented or like a lower cost item, I know that gets a lot of flack and it gets a lot of feedback, but keep in mind, again, that's getting into one of the most premium Japanese manufacturers of helmets out there on the market. This is just gonna be the entry level into that brand. There are plenty of other helmets sub $500 out there that you want to take a look at, but this is getting you a lot of features from the RF-1400 and the X15 built into a helmet that comes in at that $499 price point. So just keep in mind, that's what I'm talking about when I say budget or entry level. It's really to get into Shoei or to get into one of what is considered the top 3 helmet brands out there, Shoei being one of them. It's really to get into the full face segment of their brands out there. So really give you like a spin around, a good look at this helmet out there. Again, they didn't change all that much. The main things that they did change, though, I think they changed very well. You get a little bit more of a spoiler in the back, which adds a little bit of stability. I think you have to get up closer to triple digits to really feel that, which might not be the riding segment in there, but it does pull a lot more air out of the helmet. Ventilation going into the helmet got a major increase, as well as the ventilation coming out with that spoiler in the back. So just keep that in mind. What they did keep, though, is going to be the shell construction. This is using an AIM Plus composite shell, so that's an advanced integrated Matrix Plus shell, something they've used for years, and that's still using the RF-1400, a few other shells out there. It's a really solid main construction that doesn't add too much weight, but also keeps it nice and rigid all the way around. Now, it is going to be 4 shell sizes, which is solid at this price point. It's exactly what I would look for. You're looking at extra small and small, medium is its own shell size, large is its own shell size, and then extra large up to 2 extra large is that 4th and final shell size. As far as certifications, it is DOT and SNELL 2025 certified on the back there, so you can see that back there. This is one of the few options within the line that is using that SNELL certification. Again, launching in the US, I like that they're adding that in there. Could have gone with ECE 2206, but I think to help it stand out, they are going with that SNELL cert on the back, just like the older version had as well. And as far as weight, you're looking at 3 pounds, 8 ounces in a size medium, which is about an ounce, call it maybe a little less than an ounce shy of what the older version was in a size medium as well. And after riding in it for quite a few weeks, as I've been testing this out, I can say it really holds its weight very well. It isn't rear balance, it isn't forward balance or anything like that. It really holds its weight really well in a standard neutral riding position. I'm on a street triple, again, more of a sport riding position. I felt it just fine in that one. I rode it around on a Tiger. I rode around on a few other bikes out there, really just to get a couple different riding positions, and couldn't really find a bad one for this. Now, if you get into the full tuck, if you're getting onto a sport bike and really laying your face all the way down on the tank for aerodynamics, you might want to start looking at the RF-1400 or maybe the X15 in the line. Again, more budget into that, but that's where they're kind of coming from, more MotoGP features built into it. Internal fit, it's going to be intermediate oval, so a little bit longer front to back than it is side to side, which is perfect for the US market. It's most people's fit out there, and it's going to be true to size. I'm a size medium, and most helmets out there on the market, medium is fitting me spot on. I wouldn't go up in size, I wouldn't go down or anything like that. It's fitting me spot on, so just keep that in mind. I want to point out in this video too, you might notice a big scratch on there. That's not Shoei's fault. I actually decided to say hi to my dog when I got home from work, who's 130 pounds, and he decided to headbutt me right in there, and he left a pretty decent mark on that one, so just ignore that for the entire part of the video. But as far as the shell goes, you're looking at a pretty standard shell when it comes to the overall fit. Again, you can see just the drastic difference in the rear of the helmet. I'll actually spin them around so you can see them side by side. Adding that spoiler into the back doesn't look like much, but it does help with the stabilization. Again, something you really notice once you get up to highway speeds or even higher than that. But they did go from 2 vents down to 1 central vent at the back, which is really just tied in. It's really 2 ports in the back, but it is kind of paired into 1 exit back there. But let's actually continue talking about ventilation. You can see much larger vent at the front, easier to grab with a gloved hand. That was feedback that Shoei heard from the previous owners themselves. And you can actually see this one has a little bit of water still in it because I did get caught in a rainstorm riding in right before we shot this, but it's a much easier to grab with a gloved hand. Just keep in mind that large vent does not go to the face. It actually goes up to the shield to help defog it. Now it is pin lock ready shield, does come with a pin lock in the box, but that vent goes straight to the shield itself. I did find though, just like on the older version, the city position detent is pretty pronounced, and that gets you all the air that you need going right to the face. So if you are running a little bit warmer on those hotter days, if you pop that open, it's going to be straight through to your face. You're going to be really cooled off on that one. It holds it extremely well down there. And then it's paired with 2 vents up top. Again, they just got rid of the connector piece that goes down to the shield itself. Pretty easy to find with a gloved hand. I had no problems with it with my Marco mesh gloves on there. Really easy to find on there, very easy to actuate, and you do feel the ventilation go right through to your head. And then again, at the back, as I mentioned before, you do have the centrally located exhaust vent on there. I'll call it one exhaust vent because again, they just kind of pour out of the same location. If they were spread out like the older version, maybe I'd give it a little bit more allowance, but you do have them very centrally located on that rear spoiler back there. Smooth shell design though, again, you can see even the vents that are on here are very streamlined. There's nothing standing out on the side of the shell. It is still using the same CWR1 shield from the RF-SR. Now that's been tried and true on the old RF-1200. That was the old X14 shell. Those two have advanced on to a newer version, but it still uses the same one for this on here. And again, it's pin lock ready. Pin lock's included in the box, especially at this price point, getting a premium brand like Shoei. Love seeing that one on there. And it has a really solid gasket seal all the way around, so it's not gonna be something that leaks air once you have it closed or get any rain inside of the helmet if you are riding in inclement weather like I was this morning. And super easy to change on the side. Shoei's kind of perfected it on the CWR being a shield that's been used for a while. You just pull down on the lever and it pops right out, and then getting it back in is as simple as repeating those steps. So very simple to change out the shield on each side. Wouldn't call it a truly flat shield. You can kind of see a little bit, if I get this set up for a cameraman cam, it's not a truly flat shield. It does have a little curvature on it, but optics are just fine. Even with the pin lock in there, you're not gonna notice any distortion. And over on the left-hand side, you do have the single lift up tab. I do wish that was a little bit more pronounced, or like the newer RF-1400 and X15 use, I wish it was centrally located, just easier to find. If I take my throttle hand off, I don't have to reach around to the face. So it is on a single side, but it isn't too hard to find. Would have loved maybe a little bit more of a lip or even a locking mechanism on that. But again, they're using the same shield that's been around for a while, so you can't expect them to really change all of the design just for little features like that. But again, solid detents going all the way up and down. I rode in this with about 60 to 70 miles an hour with some sunglasses on while I was stuck in traffic, kind of going fast and then slow and then fast and slow, and it did not budge from wherever I put it. I love that. Being someone who commutes on their bike all the time, I love being able to put it in a position, leave it there just because I know what the next traffic stop's going to be. I like kind of cruising around, but really pronounced. The upper detent all the way in the up position, I say, and the city position, and then closed are going to be the most pronounced detents for sure, but you do get easy movement, but it does hold its position. Once you start riding, it's going to be nice and open. In the open position, get a severe whistling. Honestly, it's something that was kind of, I don't want to say unbearable. It's very noticeable though. But again, that's with the shield open. I don't think most people are going to be really qualifying a helmet with a giant hole in it in the front on how noise level it is. But once you close it, whisper quiet. It's going to be something that's fantastic. You don't hear anything leaking in through the shields. On the older version, I used to get a lot of whistling coming through these top 2 vents on lane checks when turning side to side, just the nature of having a hole. As air crosses over it, you do get a whistling. I did not get that on the updated vents up top at all when doing lane checks. So just keep that in mind. Really cool improvement on there. Now Shoei, these are Shoei's numbers. I don't really like to throw out percentages. They are claiming 20% increase in ventilation getting into the helmet. And again, the rear, that exhaust arrow is about 82% more stability coming out of the rear. Those are Shoei's numbers as well, but I did notice a little bit more stability and notice a little bit more air coming through. I would just love to have a vent on the chin that goes straight to my face. I'm someone who enjoys getting that clean air straight through to the face to cool off instead of having to lift up the shield. But again, that's just what I look for in helmets in general. Getting to the interior, it will come with a chin skirt. I have it off just because I haven't been riding with it, but you do have emergency release cheek pads on the base, so you can go ahead and easily remove these cheek pads out. And I think the interior is really where you're getting the more budget-oriented side of Shoei's lineup, because it's not crazy materials on the inside. They are moisture wicking, and they are easy to take out, and you can clean them yourselves, but it's really a basic material compared to the RF-1400 or the X15. That's really where those two excel on the interior comfort, but you're getting almost the exact same interior material as the older RF-SR. Again, Shoei is just trying to keep that price point exactly where they wanted to, so that's where you get it shaved off, but you do have the emergency release cheek pads on the interior. Now what you also get, I'll get the double D-ring out of the way, as well as remove the top liner on here. Really easy to remove top liner. Again, nice 3D mounted foam on there with laser welded perf, as well as movement inside there. You get a little bit of airflow. You do get speaker pockets in this one. I'd call them about 40 to 45 millimeter speaker pockets. And the reason I say that, and I'll try to get this for my cameraman Cam over here, you can kind of see they have a little bit of a concave action to them when it comes to the sides, a little bit of a taper, I should say, to the sides. So down at the base, it's about 40 millimeters, up towards the top, closer to 45. So if you're adding spacers in there, or you have a little bit of Velcro action inside of it, that'll be something that easily can fit 45 millimeter speakers. If you're down at the back side of it, it's gonna be something closer to 40 millimeter speakers, which is what most Cardos and Centers are coming with, but you can upgrade the size of the speakers in there if you really need to. No other channels or anything like that for the wiring. This is not designed to run with an SRL system as well, just like we've seen from the higher point price point options within Shoei's line. I will say though, if you are riding without a comm system, just keep those plugs installed in there. It's gonna be a lot more quiet for you. Another thing to call out, not much when it comes to channels on the inside. That doesn't change from the older version. They kept that the same. The EPS doesn't have much channeling for that air to flow through, which again, could have been an easy fix for them to help cool off the rider inside the helmet. Shoei, if you're listening, would love to see channels added into that. But again, for this price point within their brand, I'm not too upset about it with all the other features that we are getting, that I think, again, Shoei could have easily raised the price on this a couple $100s, but I like that they kept it exactly where the older version was towards the end of its lifespan. So all in, a lot of similar features from the original RF-SR, but I will say in some key areas they did improve it. The RF-SR was one of the most popular helmets within Shoei's line, especially here in the United States, just because of all the features it gave you for that sub $500 price point. And I think people are going to be very happy with the RF-SR2, maybe not upgrading to it, but still having that entry-level price point for a full-face helmet within Shoei's line. I think it's a solid option, and if you were considering the RF-SR original, I would highly recommend taking a look at the RF-SR2 from Shoei, new for 2026. But if you still have questions after that, you can click that info button. That'll take you over to the product page where you can read other rider reviews and see what other riders are saying about this helmet. Don't just take my word for it. If you still have questions after that, if you're confused on sizing or maybe which option within Shoei's line is right for you, give our customer service agents a call. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining me and checking out the all-new Shoei RF-SR2 helmet. I'm Pat. I'll see you in the next video.